Welcome, everyone, to the Commentary Podcast. I am your host, Pat Brennan. For today's podcast, we are going to be watching David Fincher's 2007 crime thriller, Zodiac. Now, I actually own the Blu-ray of this, but the Blu-ray only contains the director's cut. So this time I am actually going to be streaming this movie. I'm going to be streaming the theatrical cut because the director's cut is not actually streaming anywhere. It's only available on the Blu-ray. So I'm going to be streaming this on Showtime. This is currently streaming on Showtime, and it is also streaming on Paramount Plus. And you can also rent it on Vudu for $3, rent it on Amazon for $3 as well, and on Apple TV for $4. Joining me today for this episode is one of my good friends, Martin. I'm going to be doing the same thing I did like the last episode. I will be dropping in his social handles in the episode description. So if you could follow him there and check out his profiles because he's great. I don't want to take up too much time here because this episode is probably going to be long because the movie runs 2.5 hours. So without further ado, I'm going to be pressing play on Zodiac in 3, 2, and 1.
Ooh, there we go. I like the original Paramount logo for this.
Oh, yeah. So I'm turning down a little bit. I know, I like when movies do that old logo.
I feel like a lot of horror movies do it for some reason.
Yeah, that opening shot right there is all CGI.
Yeah. I think it's funny. Have you heard the commentary on this?
Oh, yeah.
David
There's
Fincher.
the Fincher one by himself, then they have Robert Downey and like Jake Gyllenhaal. It's like that commentary is so funny because they just complain how many takes they had to do the whole time. So funny.
I'm a big Fincher head, and so that's one of those that like I'll watch it with friends or any Fincher movie with friends really, and I'll just tell them like facts about the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I watched
Home
Gone Girl
Mangus.
recently the other day with a friend for the first time. His first time. It's been my probably like 7th time seeing it. But the thing with the Yankees hat I told him about, and he was like, "No way."
Yeah. He's like, just wear the fucking hat or something. Oh, my man.
I thought it was 2 days that they lost on shooting, and it was apparently 4.
That's so funny.
I bet that place has really good burgers.
Yeah, this scene always reminded me of like American Graffiti look.
I've never actually seen American Graffiti. I need to get on that.
It's pretty good. The transfer is actually like on Blu-ray, and apparently the new 4K transfer is not very good.
Yeah, I've been hearing that a lot with a lot of movies. I know that the new Terminator release, the Judgment Day one, wasn't very good. Pirates, I heard, wasn't very good either.
Oh yeah.
This was also one of those movies that I had mentioned before that like I started in the middle of the night and then I got too invested and I finished it. And that was my first time watching it. And I finished it at like 3 a.m. and I was just like, wow, that was something else.
Yeah, I think I didn't see this in theaters. I definitely was at like Best Buy, whatever, in like 2008, probably. Because it came out in 2007. And back then, like
Mm-hmm.
the movies used to take so long to come out physically. And I think I saw the cover and I was like, oh, I want to watch this. Because I had just seen Fincher, and I think I'd only ever seen Panic Room at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, I think
Do
this
you
is the
have
guy
the
that made
Blu-ray
Panic
for
Room.
it?
For this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Blu-ray, for some reason, I think has one of the coolest yet simple yet such strange designs for like the cover art. It's just that it looks like a postcard or like the mail, like the letters that he sends.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one I have. Apparently that when the Blu-ray first came out, they only made like a limited quantity of it. So essentially it's sold out, and then people were selling it on eBay for like $500. And then they eventually like re-released it. I think in like the early 2010s, they eventually re-released it. But yeah, this was like a hot commodity. Like you couldn't buy this movie.
That's insane. That this is not one that I would think it would be that like a huge deal for, but I guess now I think about it, I did get it after 2010 or 2012.
Yeah, I think I got it around that time too.
I got it at
'Cause
like
I had the
the
DVD.
in like Walmart, those like $5, $7 bins that they have
Mhm.
whenever those were still a thing. I found it in one of those. That's why I found a lot of movies actually.
Oh, yeah.
They had separate bins just for Blu-rays, and I would just scour through that every time I
I
went.
know. I feel like they just have $5 now. I haven't been to Walmart in I don't
Yeah,
know
they don't
how.
have they barely carry the I mean they carry Blu-rays, but like there's not a separate bin for the Blu-rays anymore for like the $5 bins.
Mhm.
It's ridiculous. That's I will say that like Lawrence of Arabia was one that I have that for a hot minute was going for a lot as well, like on eBay. A
Mhm.
4K disc for it anyway.
We need a 4K of this.
I know. They've been saying it's gonna be getting a 4K pretty soon. I don't know how or when that's gonna happen, but like I've heard that they're doing that. I know that they already did a social network 4K because it's part of that Columbia Pictures. You have it, don't you?
Yeah, I have that box set,
Yeah,
yeah. It's the only one
good.
of them I have.
That's
They're a
like,
little they're a little pricey,
yeah. I
but I mean,
really considered it just for that 4K. The Social Network's like one of my favorite movies of all time.
yeah. All this blood is CGI
Really, I wouldn't have been able to tell.
because they didn't wanna have the blood on the set because then they'd have to change the clothing all the time. So he's like, "Let's just add it in the post."
Oh, that makes
Uh,
sense.
and he shot, all of those the slow motion scenes are the only scenes he shot, um, actually on film. Everything else is digital.
That's one of those strange things where I've never understood Fincher's philosophy with using digital versus film in specific times because
Mhm.
it's like he's such a stickler for film, but then he does digital.
Yeah, I think he was, like, one of the first to, like, really get into digital, I think,
Yeah.
because in
The
his mind, for him, he probably needs it because he does so many takes. Like,
yeah,
if
like
they're using
he can't
film.
afford to
Yeah.
spend so much film.
Yeah. I mean, I probably would still give Fincher that amount of money just to shoot film.
What's interesting to me is there's the Steve Jobs movie that Danny Boyle did in like what was it 2015, 2016.
Mhm,
That was originally offered to David Fincher, and
mhm.
they were kind of banking on him to do that movie because of the success with the Social Network, and I guess apparently he wanted more money for the budget with Steve Jobs, and that's why it didn't pan out. But
Oh,
anyways,
yeah.
um, one really
No,
cool thing
another
about
sequence
that.
shot.
Oh, I love all the like skyline shots you get of San
Yeah.
Francisco. But one of the cool things I think Danny Boyle did with that movie was like the different use of formats and shooting
Mhm,
on different formats for each period of the movie that you're in. So like the last,
mhm,
I think third of the movie is like all digital, and the first half is like 16 and 35 mil.
mhm.
Jake
Yeah,
Gyllenhaal
actually,
is so good at this.
Fincher actually wanted to make a Black Dahlia movie,
Yeah, I've
before
read
this,
about that. It's insane.
and it, like, fell through, and then I think, one of the studio heads just gave him this script
Have you read the novel that this is based on?
instead. No, I actually have it. I bought it recently because I mean, I love this movie. It's, like, one of my favorite movies ever,
I
and
got it
I've never read
before
the book. And I was like, "I'm gonna buy the book," but I still haven't read it yet because I just
I
buy
got
books and
it
let them
on
sit
a
there.
trip last year or 2 years before, and it's a really good book. Like I bought it over a Christmas break, like a Christmas trip, and yeah, I couldn't put it down the whole time I was on the trip. It was so good.
Mhm. Yeah, I need to read it. It's actually sitting right there on the shelf. I can see it. Zodiac.
I have mine sitting next to like Lord of the Rings, Fahrenheit 451 and Annihilation, and The Exorcist. Oh, and The Disaster Artist. So yeah, it's like one of those books that just kind of fits in with all the rest of like the movie novels I have.
Mhm,
This shot of the mail, like that mail cart.
mhm.
I don't think it's come up yet, but it will in a second. I haven't
Yeah,
listened to the
no.
score for this by itself. Have you?
Yeah, speaking the score actually, I read that he originally didn't want a score at all. He was just gonna use, like, songs of that
Mm-hmm.
era.
Hurdy Gurdy
Um,
Man.
yeah, great
Dude,
song.
Hurdy Gurdy Man is so good.
And then he, I guess once they were, like, got to, like, do. I think they saw like the first couple dailies, and I think he was like, maybe we should just use like some sound effects, like not really audio, like a score, but like just weird sounds. But then eventually he like figured that he needed. I think he had watched the conversation like before, and he like listened to how they did the score in that, and then I think he reached out to one of the sound editors on the conversation, who then had him reach out to um uh I think Shire did this. I think that's his
Yeah, I
name.
think his name was just
Did
up there,
score.
David Shire, something like that.
Yeah. Reached out to him, and then that's when they started to work together.
That's cool. That's cool. I didn't know that actually on that score thing.
Yeah, I could see him like pitching just a let's just use like music of the time, because like right there, I think that's a Carlos Santana song. It's like
Mhm.
it works. So his camera movements are so like perfect.
I love the way that he uses like I call them David Fincher alumni, but like he uses a lot of the same actors in other movies that he uses in this one, as well as like other films that are just like really small parts. So like the I don't know what his name is, the editor here, the guy in the blue shirt, he's also the lawyer in The Social Network.
Yeah.
And then like there's one dude in the main character in Mindhunter, I can't remember his name, is the partner, not the Jonathan Groff character, but he's also in Fight Club, which is crazy to me.
Hmm. First letter, which actually, the first letter was actually not sent to the Chronicle.
I wonder if this is actually the actor's hand or if they do use like a hand double.
Oh, it's actually, speaking of the hands, all of the close-ups on Jake Gyllenhaal's hands, they added hair. So if the shot right there, you could see he didn't have any hair on his hand, but the close-ups they added hair.
That's funny.
Because like I think Fincher said it looked, see how he's like no hair right there, but like watch when they do like the close-ups, like pretty sure there's like some CGI in there like to make him have more hair, because like it looked too. It just, like he said, it just looked weird. Like Fincher's so funny.
The Killer drops this weekend, doesn't it, on Friday?
I think so.
Yeah, there's some funny stuff in the new one that like legitimately like made me laugh out loud.
Hmm.
I like this guy's tie. Robert Downey
Wow.
Jr. has some nice outfits in this.
Yeah.
He looks like a real 70s man.
Hmm. Yeah, I think the first, because this is the Chronicle, the actual letter was, because it make it seem like this. They said the Chronicle, or not the Chronicle. The Examiner was the first one to actually receive the letter, and then they called the Chronicle like asking if they had one, and then they found it. I think.
So it's kind of one of those like we're following this story, but
Yeah.
we have to make it
Mhm.
seem like this is what happened.
Yeah. So like they made it seem like oh, like the Examiner is going to go with it, like they've already had it, but it makes it seem like they got the letter first.
There's so much smoke in all of the scenes with Robert Downey Jr.
Mhm. And he like modeled this movie off after All the President's Men, and like watching these like the scenes right there in the newspaper office, you're like, this is just exactly like that. Like,
It's a nice vest. I just noticed this outfit on Robert Downey Jr. I don't know why.
speaking of outfits, all of the scenes where like the killings take place are the actual outfits that the victims wore. He matched them.
I've oh my gosh, I've read so much on like the him recreating so many of like the scenes with
Yeah.
like the Zodiac killings, like the you know the story about the tree, right? At like the lake.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's just something like I really respect Fincher for just shit like this.
Yeah. And like I guess technically, like he technically starts the movie with the Zodiac claiming it's the second murder, because I guess the first murder was never proven that it was the Zodiac. and there's obviously no
Yeah,
survivors.
he mentions in the letter that he also killed someone in the like what do you say, like
Yeah,
the thing before.
yeah. So they wanted to start it with like someone who actually like survived the attack.
I find it really smart as well that he casted different people as like all the Zodiac killers for different scenes.
Hmm.
It gives
So
like a real
you'll
sense
never
of
know.
like
Yeah, you'll never know who is.
ambiguity. On
Yeah.
top of that, just like the sense of like dread. Like you never really get a good look at his face. And on top of that, you never.
Mhm.
It almost adds to the sense of like whenever like eyewitness people will come forward and say like, oh well, he was wearing this, he looked like this, and they're almost always like completely different descriptions from the last one because like no one ever gets a good look at him.
Hmm. God, those little like camera setups there, like you probably spent a day shooting that. I need 45 takes of this close up of the camera snapping.
He's got that little James Bond thing cut out.
Yeah, just those small camera movements are like they're all perfect. They just guide your eyes where you need to go.
I had when I was in high school, there was this guy that came to school with us. He was a foreign exchange student that had like a love, like a deep, deep love for Edgar Wright. And I put him on some David Fincher movies, and he was just like, dude, you guys just have like an American Edgar Wright. I was like, I mean, kind of much more precise, but I could see where he was coming from. Like they're very similar in terms of like how they frame a lot of transitions,
Hmm.
but they're like it's such a different energy to them.
Hmm.
I love the way that the scene kind of mirrors like later in the film with the new writer that comes in and replaces Paul.
Oh yeah. He like tries to befriend him and he's like, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
I think he originally offered Robert Downey Jr.'s role. I think he wanted Brad Pitt and Daniel Craig, which makes sense why he then cast Daniel Craig in Dragon Tattoo.
Yeah. Have you heard about like the like why we didn't get a sequel to that movie? Like a proper sequel, I mean.
Yeah, I think it had to do with Sony didn't want to pay the money
Yeah. Well, it was right after he
for
did
it.
Skyfall and he was like huge after that, which I don't know
Yeah,
why. Part of me thinks like he was already kind of big when he did Dragon Tattoo. My dad's not a big film guy, but even he knew who he was. Like my dad just kind of
yeah,
knew him as James Bond.
yeah. I mean, yeah, everyone knows who a James Bond is. Even if you've never seen the movies, you're probably just like, oh yeah, that guy's James Bond. So like those close-ups there, he adds like hairs
I'm
to
just now
characters.
noticing that. That is so funny.
It's such like a weird like why? But
I've been on a big Jake Gyllenhaal kick lately as well.
it's funny that these actors say they'll like never work with Fincher again because it's just too much like work.
I
Because
I
in their
find it
mind,
I find it so interesting that people say that, but then like you have Rooney Mara who literally did like what was it like 3 or 4 scenes in The Social Network, and then she went on to do Dragon Tattoo like
yeah,
2 years or a year later.
yeah, she's only in the well, yeah, she's in three scenes of yeah, you're right, three scenes of Social Network.
I want to say 3 or 4, but
I think
even
she
then,
worked
one of those
7 days.
scenes is notoriously known for the 100 takes thing.
Yeah, this is a brutal scene.
It's one of those scenes that oddly enough does not really show much, but it's such a intense and such a like well shot scene that it feels much more engaging and much more visceral than something that would be bloody and violent.
Mhm. Yeah, like especially this scene with the blood, like that's all CGI because they do that close up. So if you're like obviously
You see, like
adding
you
the
can see
blood.
him from far away, like his
Yeah.
face, but it's so far that you would never get a good look at him.
I love like how each like scene is just like different too.
They never
Like
really the way
this
that
like
they
the
shoot
first
him in
scene.
relation to where they are with like location, they never show him up close. It's so
Yeah.
scary.
And like the first scene, like he doesn't say anything. And like this one, he has an entire conversation with them, which is like what to your point. It's like you cast a different actor for each one. It's like because you never knew who the Zodiac was. I think personally it was multiple people working together.
You think so?
Yeah, I think it was someone I was like writing the letters
I think at
and like
minimum two. Like
at
I've always
minimum two.
kind
I
of come
think
up with
someone wrote
that
the
concrete
letters.
theory.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, my senior year, there was like a class that was like notoriously known for like everyone had to do like a research paper for English. And I did my paper over the Zodiac Killer because I had just loved this movie for so long that I was just like, I want to do a paper over this. But I actually my teacher said we could just use like any source we wanted to as long as it was like legitimate. And I just took a
Hmm.
shot in the dark and I messaged him on Facebook. I did whatever I could to get Robert Graysmith's attention, anybody who's involved with the movie. And he actually emailed me back and I got to call him for
Oh
like
wow,
a phone
really?
call for like an interview. Yeah. And I mean, I got an A on that paper. My teacher, because I was kind of known as like a slacker in that class, but my teacher was very
Mm.
impressed with it.
You guys
But
probably like
he,
you got him to like respond to you. He's like, I'll give you an A just for that.
yeah. But I had kind of presented my theory, and that was that I think there was two people, and he also kind of thought like the more I think about it, like as time goes on, he said the same thing.
Yeah.
But he was very cool to talk to.
Yeah, be curious to pick his brain.
This guy's really smart for someone who's getting tied up.
Hmm. I love this shot coming up here when he asks if there's any bullets in the gun.
Oh, and he shows it to him, it's just
And he shows it, but he like puts it right on the lens. It's like, oh, like right here. Like, yeah, floated. Close up. Something's gonna happen. Oof. I didn't surviving that.
I think I find it really interesting rewatching this with like the hindsight that you know about like Grace Smith's character and Paul Avery talking about like how he gets too caught up with the women that he
Hmm.
forgets to finish off the men, and that's one thing that like the first time I never noticed it, but watching it again, you're like, he does completely like focus on her after that.
Yeah,
This handwriting is just creepy.
I know. I think they actually interviewed the responder who would actually field one of the Zodiac calls, and I think they had the actors all um, read the lines, and they said that John Carroll Lynch, who plays Arthur Lee Allen, she said that his voice was spot on.
Oh,
Like he
for
nailed it.
real?
Yeah,
Oh my
which is
god, that
funny
is
because he plays Arthur Lee Allen. See all that hair? I'm gonna bring it up every time. So whoever's listening to this will never unsee it.
the way that he bolts as soon as he thinks about the book right
Yeah.
here. He like passes the door.
Yeah, I love they just like treat him like he's just like this weird person. Like he just draws cartoons. He's just interested in this. So, like, I kind of the guy who comes out like who's looking at him like, why'd you run into
He's
your
like,
friend?
what? Why the hell did you grab? Zaroff with a Z.
Another CGI.
I'm not gonna cap that one shot with the I don't know what that building is called, that tower that's being built to show that like time is
Mhm.
passing. I love that shot. There's just something so cool about that.
Great transition. Show time passing.
Yes, yes, yes.
I love the one overhead here.
Oh, the taxi
Like
shot.
that. Yeah, because this is all CGI, but it like God, it looks so much better than half the stuff today.
It's like the best CG, and I know that this has been said to death before, but like the best CG is the one that you don't notice.
Oh yeah.
And I completely find that to be true. For a movie from 2007, this does looks really, really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they should. This is film right here. So you can shoot a high frame rate.
I like that this is a shot for the album cover, I'm pretty sure, that they use for it. I think it is anyway. I know it's one of the posters.
Mm-hmm. Just so nonchalant.
Walks away like it's nothing. He does look like just an average dude though. And whenever
Mm-hmm.
he interviews the kids, they're like, he just looked normal.
Yeah. On the on the Blu-ray, there's like a couple documentaries, and they interview one of the cops. But they show them later when they speak to Ruffalo.
Oh, there's your friend.
Oh yeah, my man.
My
He's
man.
like, he's like in 14 years, I'm gonna quote tweet Pat. No, but the in the documentary on the Blu-ray, like they interview one of the cops that was driving around that night, and he said that him and his partner, like they were around the scene, so they pulled up, and then they saw this guy walking, and like they kind of slowed down, and then he just stopped and stared at them, and then they just like stopped too, and then he just kept walking, and then they just drove away,
Yeah,
and that was him, and he just
I've
stopped and stared at them.
I've seen through like all of them, the like all the documentaries on them. That's the thing I like about Blu-rays and like just physical media as well, is you get so much, or I feel like you used to. There used to be so much bonus features with them that like now it's, if you get a bonus feature on a Blu-ray, it's like a miracle, something good. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, they didn't even have like menus anymore. It's just like
It's
here's
just something
the
super bland.
yeah.
There's this giant blue screen shot here that I don't think anybody ever notices.
Oh yeah, this is all like a soundstage.
Yeah. It looks really good though
Wow.
for that. Yeah, whenever I was watching, I don't even think you ever watched it either. Like Beau is Afraid.
I have still haven't seen it.
When I was watching it in theaters, I do remember thinking like I cannot wait to watch this with an audio commentary track.
Hmm.
Got the Blu-ray for it, nothing. There's like a featurette about the film, but nothing else.
I know some of them are just so weak now.
I will
Yeah.
say I'm willing to bet A24 is holding out to put like out like a special
Yeah.
edition
I'm
4K or
sure.
something.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
Did
for
you see
this whole
that?
thing.
Did you see that book that they released today, the Midsummer one?
Oh yeah, I did. I was like, I'm not gonna buy that, but someone will buy it.
I thought about getting it. I'm not fun. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I like me some Ari Aster.
Yeah, so I guess this whole like block no longer like looks like this. So they had to like go back through old photos,
Just
um,
recreate it.
and essentially recreate it. Yeah, you can tell if you look there in the back, you can like, oh yeah, I can tell that's not real back there. Um, yeah, so he had to
It's
like
like past that
recreate
van that they
everything.
just completely blue screen. The
Yeah,
pictures from the set on this look really cool though.
yeah, yeah. So they had to, like essentially recreate everything through photographs. So they like built it all. Just wild. Also, I'm pretty sure he said that they didn't want us filming recreating a murder scene that happened there, so we couldn't really film there. Yeah, all the cars going by are all CGI.
This I can't remember what his name is. The guy that plays his partner. He's in Top Gun,
Mhm,
and I didn't realize I hadn't seen Top Gun until I was like 18 or 19, I think. I saw it with a friend, and I was like, "Hey,
mhm.
that's the guy from Zodiac."
Oh yeah. No, he's always in ER. Anthony Edwards, it's his name.
Oh yeah, it's ER Anthony
Yeah.
Edwards.
He's actually Fincher actually cast him because of ER, but then he's like, oh, he was also my neighbor, so I just
That's
asked him,
funny.
and
Oh,
he's
he's in
like,
the ER the show.
yeah, ER the show, yeah. And he's also like, I need a guy who's just like, he's like a nice guy, like he's telling the truth. Like,
He really does look like a nice guy, honestly.
yeah.
He just got a face. Mark Ruffalo has a very like that man is a chameleon. He is able to do anything to me,
Hmm.
honestly.
Yeah, he's just great at, I guess not great at solving crimes, but he likes to solve crimes.
Did you ever see that movie with him, Dark Waters?
Yeah,
I
great
feel like
movie.
no one talks about that movie, but he did really good in that.
Yeah. See, I think the score works so well here.
It creeps in though. It creeps in. Like you don't
Mhm.
even notice it's there till like you start like paying attention to like all the like facets of filmmaking.
Yeah.
I like the mutton chops here.
Gotta get that 70s.
You never see the kids either. That's such an interesting choice. I feel like there probably wasn't even any kids there. They dubbed that.
Yeah. You could have someone reading off just at the side. Please rush to editor. Hey, this looks like the Zodiac's handwriting.
And she still just opens it like nothing.
Yeah. Hmm. Is this blood? Wah! Our two leads meet, Ruffalo and Gyllenhaal.
It's strange to think about who the lead is in this movie because I think it's clearly Gyllenhaal, but like if you think about it, like Mark Ruffalo didn't show up till 30 minutes into it, and then
Mhm.
Downey just disappears like in the second or
Yeah.
third act.
It starts with Gyllenhaal, then it goes the entire middle movie is like Ruffalo, then it goes back to Gyllenhaal.
It's an interesting choice. I mean, any other person I'd say definitely couldn't do that, but Fincher's just one of
Yeah.
those like he can definitely move the momentum with specific characters. That's so interesting to do.
Hmm.
And
Just
ruffling through the
reading.
trash.
Yeah, just ruffling through the trash.
That little switch to the Notebook from Toski. He holds a cigarette like Cillian Murphy and Oppie.
Yeah. God, just the camera movements are so like perfectly done.
They're just so precise. They're like so like gentle for a movie that does not feel gentle.
Hmm.
Like there's just something so eerie about the way that he places the camera in specific spots where like the characters feel like they're being watched the entire time.
And speaking of like the score, 'cause the score came back in here. He uses like three different things for each character. Like Graysmith is like the piano tune, like you
Yeah.
can hear it there. And then I think with Toski, he uses like more of like a trumpet.
I've never noticed the Toski one. Yeah, Sacramento.
And then I think for the Zodiac killer, he was using like he uses like more strings, like deep strings.
Adds like a sense of like tension to it. Almost feels like a
Yeah.
looming danger.
R.I.P. Philip Baker Hall.
What would you say is your favorite performance from him?
Um,
My personal favorite is Magnolia. I think he
yeah,
kills it in that
he's great
movie,
in that.
dude.
You know what movie no one will say, but he's absolutely hilarious in is Fired Up. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie where he plays the football coach. He's like
I
in
have
two
seen it.
scenes. He's in like two scenes and he just absolutely nails it. It's like
I
so
saw
damn
it once like years ago, but I do think like that's like the only thing I remember about that movie is he is just freaking
funny. Yeah.
hilarious.
He just like screams at them for like no reason. Never thought I'd mention Fired Up while watching Zodiac.
David Fincher can do Fired Up, but the director Fired Up could never do Zodiac. I don't even know his name. Henry Fonda and Vera Miles and The Wrong Man.
Perfect poster for this movie. Possibly a latent homosexual.
I like how that comes back. Yeah, it's like one of those like moments you like kind of miss if you don't pay attention.
Mm.
Just him typing away something like really small.
Oh, Dermot Mulroney. He's wearing a fat suit here.
Is that a
That
fat
gut.
suit?
Yeah. He was like, I guess Fincher said he was like too fit. They're like, yeah, you need to be a little heavier. He was like had like a like ripped, like six pack. Like, so let's put this little beer belly on you. You like beer now. I love the character trait he gives Toski too. Like he's always kind of just like eating, just munching on something.
Yeah. The way that he shows up to like all of these like meeting with his partner, and then his partner has to give him like half of a sandwich every
Yeah.
time. It's so
Or
funny to
it's
me.
like animal crackers. Like he had the animal crackers on his desk there. Like he's always just like kind of munching on something.
The animal crackers. He shows up at like a restaurant later and takes like half his friend's sandwich.
Yeah.
He has like animal crackers in his car too, because I think there's a point later where Melvin Bella is like in his vehicle and he's like, "Do you ever like wash this
Yeah.
car?" Every single person in this movie is just well cast, dude.
Hmm. I was just about to say that. Literally. Because they're only in some of them are only in like two scenes and they just like nail it. That's one of my favorite lines.
I don't work in
I don't
Vallejo, I
know.
work here.
I don't work in Vallejo. I work here. I'll say that at work sometimes. I'm like, I don't know. I don't work in post. I work here. Put it in the mail. We don't have telefax yet.
The way that like whoever the Zodiac killer was smart enough to like commit all of these murders in different districts and like jurisdictions
Mhm.
just so that like none of the police officers could get any sort of like on the same page at all. Like there was no communication whatsoever happening at
Oh
any point
yeah,
where they could actually like get this done.
yeah. These two played the police officers that like saw him that night.
It's a good moment though. I don't know if they ever break away from the shot. I think they might. But when you're just watching this whole moment right here, it feels like you're talking to little kids, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Like you have them sit down because they're like, we fucked up.
Yeah.
It's like mom and dad are angry now.
Like right between their legs too. It works so well.
Yeah. And then I like once they get a little more like ease into the conversation, like you bring the camera outside of there and you pull it up a little bit because they're like a little more comfortable talking now because they're just
Mhm.
nervous to like say anything. She's like, we're bad cop here.
Yeah.
Idiots. They should just slap him across the face. then you cut back to being like, yeah, bro, we fucked up bad. That looks so good there. Just,
Mom and dad are mad at us.
also, if you're not really paying attention to this, like if you don't like you look down or whatever, like this movie jumps around time like a lot. Like this is two
Yeah.
days later.
Like
Like
every other shot is got like some time jump at the bottom of the screen.
yeah,
It says
it'll be
like
like
2 weeks later.
3 days later, 4 hours later. Like
I think it works for this movie. There's a lot of movies that I would say it doesn't work for, but this one it's like almost necessary. Like it's so essential to understanding the timeline of everything.
hmm
Lamone Snyder.
yeah. And I also love like in the beginning, like Robert Downey Jr.'s character, like see how his shirt's like all like unbuttoned now.
Yeah.
Like he had the scarf, he was all like perfectly dressed, and
He's
like
kind of like losing it.
it's like he's starting to you can start to see his slowly descent into like madness of like trying to like figure out this guy. So he becomes like less like taking care of himself.
The moment like it's much later in the film, but whenever he like or Jake Gyllenhaal, Gray Smith's character, he like talks to him and he's like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "No,
Oh yeah,
thanks
he's
for
like,
asking."
no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he looks just like an absolute mess.
Again, me at work. Are you okay? No. It's like,
He like pats him on the shoulder too. He goes, "Thanks for
yeah.
asking."
Thanks for asking though. Because that's all we all really feel that way though. No, I'm not okay, but thanks for asking. Love me a rack focus. Ugh, love it. Just like the camera movements there, like you could easily pull out and just have her like pick up the phone and hand it to him, but you just move the camera with her picking up the phone. He always guides your eye.
Yeah. It's insane talking to people who aren't like into movies, like explaining to them why a movie may not be so like visually entertaining about stuff like that. And then you show them an example of
Mhm.
that, and they're like, "Well, you're just nitpicking." It's just like I'm not nitpicking.
Yeah,
It's genuinely just one of those things where like
yeah,
as a viewer, you can easily like follow what's happening. It makes it much more engaging to watch. And it's something
yeah.
super small, but it works so well.
hmm
There he is.
Mr.
Um,
Roy. He's like, I gotta get back. I gotta
I'm
get back to my tower.
the eldest boy. How funny would it be if, like, in this moment right here, like he's walking the building and it's just Kendall talking. He's like, Dad, what are we gonna do with this?
Dad, Dad, like he's Oh,
Dad,
Succession.
I'm not sure if it's such a good idea if you go on air right now. I mean, me and Shiv were talking about it, and we think it should be one of
Yeah.
us. Tom would be in the back saying some stupid shit.
What a show. We need more 70s reporting movies.
We really do. Maybe not even just reporting movies, but just 70s movies that take place in like the 70s and 80s to begin with.
Hmm. We'll get right back to the Zodiac Killer. Anyway, here's this link.
Got the Jack Palance, Shelley Winters poster in the back.
He's a nerd.
He really is like he's just like me for real.
Ruffalo actually defended the amount of takes. He loved it.
I feel like Ruffalo would be a real chill guy to work with. And he's
Oh
got
yeah.
such a strange body of work. Like the man went from doing this to like the all the Avengers movies and then Dark Waters and Spotlight.
Yeah. I mean, if I was an actor, like I wouldn't turn down an Avengers movie. I feel like they're gonna offer me like $10 million to do this. Like, why would I say no? It's like, who cares if it sucks? Like,
This is one of those movies that like every time I watch it, I think about it. I'm like, I just want this as a criterion.
hmm.
Imagine the artwork. Imagine the disc.
I feel like they would just do the same artwork, like the Zodiac letter.
You know, yeah, that could work. Do you
Very,
have the
very
Curious
simple,
Cate's
but it works.
Benjamin Button on Criterion, like the Blu-ray for it?
Oh yeah, the cheapest Criterion you can get there for $5.
Yeah. It's such a
There's
strange
like a
like I think
there's a
about that all the
legal
time.
it's like a legal dispute with like Warner Brothers, I think.
Was
But
it
it's
Warner
yeah,
Brothers? It may
it's
have
a
been
Criterion. It's like a Criterion,
they're the ones
but
that distributed it, but yeah.
yeah, you can get it for $5. Cheapest Criterion.
The David Lynch movie, The Art Life, that one goes for not too much either if you find it on Amazon.
Hmm.
I've gotten some
Amazon
pretty good deals on some
Amazon
Criterions every
usually
now and then.
has Amazon usually has Criterion like pretty low.
Dude, Facebook Marketplace. I'm
That's the
telling
place.
you. You can get like a pretty good deal on some things every now and then if you just really look for them.
Hmm.
That Lawrence of Arabia 4K I got for $5.
This would actually be terrifying, like to listen to. I'd be like, wait, is this actually the Zodiac killer? Because this is terrifying. But obviously, it's proven not. But
Dude, I get scared of doing a phone call to anybody that I know, like let
yeah.
alone a freaking serial killer.
I always love that too. Like right there, he's like, "I'm gonna kill those kids," and he cuts to Robert Downey Jr. Fantastic. like,
I got something to write now.
like, good job, guys. Like,
I
I'm
love
gonna write,
that poster that there is of
write
this,
down the
like the
barrel.
scene where they're all like up in that room.
Hmm.
I don't know why, but this shot of like all the cars under this bridge reminds me of the French Connection.
Oh yeah. What a secret meeting.
There's like helicopters. There's like two helicopters. Why do I feel like he's still Logan Roy?
I know. And he'll always be Logan Roy now. Even in like Troy. That's Logan Roy. Like,
Isn't that guy in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia too? He's like one of the twins.
Oh, the guy that was just there, who was in the
I can't remember what his name is. He's a really good actor though. I forget what his name
mhm.
is, and I feel bad.
He's only in basically for that scene. He's a good actor. I don't think he's probably only been in this, honestly.
For the movie.
Yeah.
I think there's a scene. I think the final scene, not the final scene, but the scene towards the end where he's like identifying him in the pictures. He's in that too. Unless
No,
that's like an extended cut thing.
that's supposed to be the first scene. That's
Oh,
him.
never mind. I think that's a
That's
different
you're
person then.
thinking of the guy at the very end is in Always Sunny.
That's who it was. They look
Yeah.
similar.
Hmm. But he plays because in the first scene, the guy that survives is Minkus from Boy Meets World, but
Oh yeah, yeah, you're
he
right, you're
plays an
right.
older version like of him like 20 or 30 years later. Is supposed to be.
It's interesting that they have that same kind of energy with like Tosky and Inspector Williams here, where they feel like kids like listening to a parent like get them in
Hmm.
trouble,
Hmm.
almost like they feel like they've not done their job or something.
Yeah. He's like, hey, this guy knows some stuff. I love
I like
this.
when he has this like little blue fruity
Yeah.
drink.
I love this whole like dialogue here where he's like, "This can no longer be ignored. What is that you are drinking?" It's
It's like you wouldn't hate it so much if you tried it. Then he's got like five of them in front
yeah,
of him.
I love that too. What do you like to do? I love to read. I enjoy books. Those are the same things. Like, is he like that way? When the wife went through my trash. Yeah, we'll get back to that.
It's got a fruity name too, an Aquaville.
Yeah, I love it. You make fun of me. I was like, dude, that does drink does look good. I probably would pound like 10
It
of those.
looks really good.
Yeah, I'd be in the booth too, hammered, like 10 of those deep. What'd you drink tonight? I had 10 Aqua Velvets. I'm just doing coke right there.
He's trying to be subtle too. Like he's not
Yeah,
doing well.
just losing it, slowly losing it.
Double L. That like little like look of just approval, like he was right.
Yeah. I think they in 2020 they I guess a Zodiac letter that they never like figured out. Someone like figured it out in like 2020.
Yeah,
He
supposedly
basically said
someone
like
found
this.
out who it was, but
He basically said like the same thing again. Like you're never gonna find me. Essentially.
he's probably dead by now. Or they're probably dead
Oh
if there
yeah,
was
he'd
two
have
of
to be.
them.
What are you talking about? It's Ted Cruz. Or his
It's
dad.
Ted Cruz.
Uh, oh yeah, he'd probably be like what 100 now. Like there's no way. That's why I think it was multiple people. That probably would make more sense.
I don't know. Whenever he's like breaking it down in the diner and he's telling him like, hey, well, he was in prison for this amount of time. Like they must have
Yeah.
had to been smart enough to know like
So,
if
like
one person's
yeah,
in jail, then like we can't do this with
yeah.
us writing the
I think
letters
it
and
was
him doing this.
like someone would do the killings, but then someone else would write the letters.
Yeah. The whole thing with like him being ambidextrous kind of adds to that.
Yeah. How many basements in California?
I love that line. I use that line all the time for some reason.
Yeah.
Someone mentioned a basement, but there's not many basements in
Just
California. Someone be like, "We're in Atlanta."
Yeah, I do. I do. The wide angle.
The light turning off. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's one of those scenes that like genuinely scares the crap out of me. The first time I saw it, it scared me so bad.
Yeah, I think for the director's cut, this scene is a little extended. It's not like much, honestly. The director's cut. It kind of just adds a little, like, couple more dialogue scenes.
It's strange for me to watch a movie that has a director's cut and then watch the theatrical cut because most of the time if it has a director's cut, I stick to watching the director's cut.
Mm-hmm.
And so I never notice what's missing. But if I go from a theatrical to director's cut, I can always tell what they're adding.
Oh yeah, like I'll never go back to watching Lord of the Rings theatrical
Oh
cuts.
yeah. No.
Only extended. Sorry, only extended. we're spending 12 hours watching this.
I will clear out my whole day to watch this. I do not care. He's such a he's so well spoken. The real story is a letter.
His voice is so perfect. Like if you heard his voice, you'd be like, you should do something with your voice. You should be an actor or something.
He looks like Colonel Sanders here. Oh, the highway scene. 2.5 months later, that's like
Yeah.
every other scene in this is just one jump to another one.
Would you pull over?
Honestly, no.
You're like, why is this person behind me
I
freaking
would
out?
I would probably wait until I got somewhere safe because I'm the kind of person that like road rage I do not mess with at all.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if it's someone behind me. Like if they pulled up next to me and tried to tell me something, I'd be like, okay, yeah, I'll pull over for you now because you were nice enough to.
Yeah, and each of these scenes, like the voice is like a little bit different. Again, to throw you off. It's like, is it multiple people all claiming to be the Zodiac? You'll
You
never
never notice that there's a
know.
baby either until like I think there's a shot like right after this when she like
Mm-hmm.
looks down and like comforts it a little bit.
Yeah. But like that little stuff right there, you could see the watch.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Very subtle. It's just all great like blocking, like which is fun. I think the studio originally wanted them to like possibly do it around like the Zodiac, like have him kind of be the main character.
I don't
But
know if
it's
that would
like,
work.
yeah, I think Fincher was like that. This wouldn't work. I think that because they had the script and like they wanted to kind of work it more as into be like make half the movie like following the possible Zodiac, which is essentially, I guess, Dirty Harry in a way, which is essentially the Zodiac killer. This is probably a soundstage too, or a set.
I wouldn't be surprised. Have you seen the credits that James Vanderbilt has for like his filmography, the ones that he's written?
I haven't, probably not recently. No.
It's insane. This is, I would say, like the only movie that I would say is genuinely like great. Everything else in there
Yeah.
is pretty okay. You got Scream 5 and Scream 6, which are pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I forgot he made the new ones.
He did, I mean, Amazing Spider-Man, the first one's pretty okay.
Mm-hmm. What an interesting filmography for like
He does.
screenwriting.
For somebody who's done like such a good job with this movie,
Yeah, especially because I think this shooting script was like 200 pages. I think the actual the screenplay was 150. But yeah, their
that's
shooting script was
crazy.
like over 200 pages. And Fincher was like, just speak faster.
Speak faster, that fasting, the
Yeah.
editing faster.
Yeah, they're like, Dave, this is a lot of dialogue. Yeah, just speak faster, dude.
You've heard that story about like the Social Network, right? Like how like the studio was not didn't think they could get it under 2 hours, and then they just told them to like
Yeah.
do the table read, and they did, and kind of proved it to them.
I think Fincher was also one of the like that shot there of the gas station going by when it showed it reflecting on the window. I think he was one of the first people to like have that like reflecting because essentially they'll have the screen above the like high up with it because they're just sitting still in like a sound
Mhm.
stage. So they'll project that onto the top like the screen like shooting down on top of the car. So it'll project like people things are going past them when they're just sitting there. I think he was like the one of the first person to ever do that.
Such an innovative man.
I mean, this is all like CGI right here. Half of it, like that entire backdrop is just all. This would be
It's not
terrifying.
distracting though. Like it's one of those things where like looking at it now, I mean it's 2007. You can clearly tell it's
Oh
CG,
yeah, you
but
can tell. Yeah.
it's CG that works so well for the story and it doesn't take you out of it. Whereas like other
Mhm.
movies, no matter how good the CG is, it's like you're not gonna fool me with this. It looks
Oh
bad.
yeah.
I love this guy's line. He says, "Dear God," or something like
Yeah.
that.
Like, yeah.
Jesus is what he says.
I do the same thing. Like, did she just like? Is it like? I love how you can't see her face there.
There's a lot of that here. A lot of the cinematography and a lot of like the way that he shoots this movie reminds me a lot of Prisoners.
Yeah.
Oh
I think he was saying he didn't want it because I think the obviously they were like the studio was like make it like 7, and he's like, well, I don't want to make 7 too. Like he wanted it to look the same,
yeah,
so he like because seven's like looks very dark, so he like kind of brought the color up a little more.
yeah. Seven's very dark. As far as like, it's one of those movies that like I watch it at night exclusively because it works so well at night, but also like you
Yeah,
can't see anything through the day.
because if you're like, oh, from the director of 7, you're like, oh, it's gonna be exactly like 7. Like,
He didn't want to make a second movie again. I
no.
get that. What's crazy though is that like whenever I think of Seven, like I do think of this movie, but not because it's David Fincher. They're just so similar, but also like they're so different in so many ways.
Hmm.
The style is completely different. The energy of it is completely different. Like this entire scene right here.
Yeah, because he was always, I think, his he was always the original choice for it to direct, but he was wanted to do that Black Dahlia that it just
I'd
never
still
got
like
off
to
the
see that.
ground. Just never got off the ground, and so they're like, "Hey, now that that's not going to happen, do this." And thank God he did.
Ugh. I love when he's what does he tell him? He's like, you gotta promise to
I
tell him. He's like, who am I gonna tell?
yeah. The best is that he's not even looking. He goes left or or here.
Yeah.
Left. Left. Yeah, he probably said to tell. Who am I going to tell? Like, he's like so like, what should I
He's
tell
like,
you?
you're right, you're right, you're right.
Yeah. Oh, my chair. Sorry if you can hear
Like
my
his
chair.
jacket. You see his jacket? The back of that. Look at that. Tell me you wouldn't rock that.
Dude, I rock like all these clothes. We should bring him back. And that hairstyle and goatee. Yeah, it's like bag. It's
Look
like
at
just like
that. I would wear that. Look
the
at that.
desert
So
highway.
cool. Forward anyway.
Who'd I tell?
He like gets so offended too. He like, who would I
Yeah.
tell? He just has that in his pocket, like nothing.
Hmm. They actually reopened the Zodiac case after this movie because people became more interested in it again.
I mean, I think I would be too. I wrote a
Yeah.
whole report on it.
But it's kind of just like it's something that'll just never be solved. But I guess there was like that guy like what a year or two ago. Like I think he brought it up earlier. He brought that claimed he was a Zodiac on his deathbed,
Mm-hmm.
but it was like never proven. They're like, I don't. The cops were like, nah, I don't think he was.
It's kind of funny. Like a guy'd say it. Like, imagine if it really
Yeah,
was him and he was like, I'm the Zodiac, and the cops were like,
yeah,
probably not.
yeah. BT Dubs, I'm the Zodiac. Calls me
He
that.
goes over to Paul. He's like, hey, does anyone ever call me names?
It's like, we can't say that word anymore. Nobody calls me. They never call me name.
He really said no.
Yeah. How much of the shirt did he cut off?
Um,
It was great.
I'm just taking pills.
Yeah.
But he's like, I want a gun.
Yeah. I want a gun. As he wears the U.S. Army jacket, I want a gun. And he's so bad. This is the outfit I want to rock. This is a Halloween outfit. I'm
The
not
I'm not
Avery.
Avery is the, like
Yeah.
what sets it off.
With the headphones, like the noise, like the silencer headphones, and just that hat. I am not.
This guy has a date. We don't see that much of people using newspapers as a umbrella anymore. We need
Like
to bring
there's
that
just not
back.
there's no newspapers anymore. That's probably why.
You know what I mean, Pat. You know what I mean.
We'll just buy them to do that. Oh, the great Chloe.
I watched Gumo for the first time recently, and I was like, that is not her, and it was her.
She's such a good actress.
She's strangely like
She's so good in this.
she really is just gorgeous, but in such a like a like not conventionally pretty, I think. If that makes
Hmm.
sense. Like she is, but she isn't. She has such distinct features. Did you see Bones and All?
Yeah.
Dude, she's in that for like 2 seconds, and I saw her on screen, and I was like, "What is she doing here?" And then she just never showed up again.
It's like one of those. I need you for a scene. I'm there.
Oh,
Like if Fincher called you, I need you for one scene. I'm there.
I'd be there like in a second.
Like the more I watch this movie, the more I'd like love her performance. Like probably one of the most in this.
She's got a
What?
point. She's got a point. He
He's
like
like, yeah.
laughs it off here for a second too.
He's like, wait,
Paul
Paul
has a
has a gun.
gun.
Oh, all good.
He really shut her down. So he said Paul has a gun. So
Yeah. It's very like subtle here. Like it makes it look like it seemed he didn't bring any money. Like he's like, like he doesn't have his like, and she's like,
you're a grown man, dude.
he's like, yeah, you got any chin? It was also interesting there what he did because he would shoot her like kind of like medium close up, like in the
Hmm.
beginning of the conversation, and Gyllenhaal was more like shot a little wider, and then once Gyllenhaal was like, wait, it might be the Zodiac, then he pushed in a little bit more because he got a little more serious.
Very subtle things that they can do with a camera that I don't think a lot of people
Mhm.
notice.
I love this. I love this right here.
He says, "Are you
Like,
trying to get me to go home with
oh,
you, you
yeah.
sleazebag?"
He's like, what? No. It's like it's so
He's so
good.
innocent too. He's like, "No."
Like he's just like the nicest person. Wait, what? No. Like she's like, it's working. I'll get the food to go.
And it does. She goes home with him and she sleeps on his couch while he waits for the
Yeah.
phone.
Paul, you went to an abandoned gas station. Like,
I love his little fit here,
yeah,
skulking around.
smoking the cig.
I find it interesting that they never do show who he talks to either.
Hmm.
Like it would have been so easy for them to show it, and they like he chooses not to, and it doesn't like bother me, but it's one of those things that I'm like, I wonder who he did talk to.
Yeah. It could have just been someone like handing him like a folder. Be like, look here.
The James Bond poster in the background. I never noticed how much there is in the back.
You are not gonna believe this. I love when he delivers the line here. The marked
Saw it on
man, and he like
TV. Oh,
he looks up in the air. The marked man. He like looks up in the air. It's real. How do I know it's real? Saw it on TV. His delivery.
what I knew in my gut, Ron. Who talks like that?
Sure, really. I love when he board planes like that. Obviously not from the back of the plane, but when you walk onto the tarmac.
It looks cool. Makes you want to do it.
The there's like the Long Beach airport here, like Southwest flies out of it, and you like walk onto the tarmac to get on. It's fun. You're like, wow, it's like the '70s all over again. I wasn't even alive then. It's wild that you could just like smoke on these planes then. Like just light one up. Like this is the designated smoking area, even though the smoke will travel to the back of the plane.
It's insane that you were allowed to smoke anywhere back in the day. Like we really
Like the
lucked out.
designated like us probably growing up, like that was the end of that smoking area sections in like restaurants. Because
Whenever
I
I was
remember all
growing up,
that.
there was a movie theater that was in my hometown that was like really small. It burned down whenever I was like 5 or 6, but there used to be a specific room where you could go and smoke during the movie.
That's wild.
It had burned down, not from smoking, but like it burned down because of light. Can you imagine? Like that's what it burned
Yeah.
down from. I think a lightning strike hit it and something happened, but the like it burned down and they rebuilt another theater like 2 or 3 years later.
Zodiac has a bad handwriting. Just-
I'll fucking get his shit together.
this guy needs to go to freaking handwriting school. Jesus.
I hate that cop. I don't know what it is about it. Every time I see this movie, I'm like, you suck.
Yeah. Well, I agree. Yeah. So many camera setups. Even just
Very
for a reaction
precise.
shot
Very
there. Even just for
precise.
a reaction shot. I mean, he's probably got like right here, probably on those angles, he's probably got two going.
Yeah, but even then, I mean, how many different setups can you do with two cameras?
Yeah.
Like he there's like one shot that they broke down I saw one time of the Social Network that was like 86 different angles for like a 10-15 minute
Yeah.
sequence.
Like if you're an actor, like David Fincher's gonna hire you, like you have to know what you're getting into.
I respect it though.
Which I think Jake Gyllenhaal was like kind of like, yeah, I'm not doing this anymore. I think Robert Downey Jr. was like, yeah, I could do it, but I would kind of I'd mess with Fincher and purposely mess up takes just to piss him off.
And then
But
just Mark Ruffalo was all
Ruffalo,
in.
I could see Ruffalo being like, I'm all in, like I'll do 100 takes if you need me to. But I get both sides of it. Like if you're a director or something, it's like, well,
I
I got
love
what I
this
needed.
line.
I got what I needed, but I have we have another 20 minutes. Let's do it again. Like let's
Just
keep going.
get what we need, right?
Yeah.
We will
Then I
get
see
something better out of it.
the other aspect of it being like, look, we did this 45 times, dude. Do you have it? Like we clearly nailed it. Like
Sometimes you're
let's
just
move on.
missing one or two things,
Yeah.
man. It's like you just gotta you'll know it when you hear it.
Yeah. That's also another thing. It's like if you're editing a Fincher movie, like be prepared. That's why they're edited so perfect. Because you're gonna have a lot of takes. So for like, and then for these, like you don't shoot them in the same frame because you're just like they're just disconnected from these people. Like these are ridiculous. Like I'm just here to
Yeah.
field a possible lead. So each one's separate. It's like these people are like they
This
just
is my favorite dude that says this whole
yeah.
thing.
I don't know. You do the math. I don't know. You do the
You're a
math.
cop, man. Do the math.
Yeah. So you separate them each one until you get to this guy, and you keep them in the frame.
Reminds me a lot of Mindhunter.
Yeah, so like then you switch to like, oh, he's more interested now, so you keep it in the frame, then you put the title 8 months later, like very subtle. This is how annoying I am when I watch movies because this is how my brain works.
I'm the exact same way, dude. Everyone hates it.
It's like, ugh, that stupid film degree I got. I will say some of the wigs in this movie aren't very good, like that.
That
Yeah.
dude's wig looks amazing. I don't know what you're talking about.
Because Anthony Edwards has a wig on here.
His looks good though.
Make his hair look more gray.
I would imagine they probably make his look good. Just, I mean, he's
Yeah,
a main character. They kind of got to commit to it. But that other dude, it's like he can be on screen for 5 seconds, dude.
yeah. Which is funny that sometimes like Fincher even used Jake Gyllenhaal's hands for those close-ups, like for that, like even Anthony Edwards there. It's like most of the time they'll just use anyone's hands just to get
Mhm.
those close-ups, those inserts. Someone's yelling outside my apartment right now. They can't hear. The pacing in this movie is just so good.
There's not a minute that's wasted, man. That's what I mean when I say that. Like, I started this in the middle of the night thinking I'll get halfway through this and then finish it tomorrow. And I just stayed up the entire night watching it.
Oh yeah. Like even right there, like he filled up the water in the water fountain, and him walking, it was like right there. You pan like he leans forward, so you pan the camera. All of the body movements are within the camera. It's just like so subtle.
I love this.
Yeah.
Take your sandwich, dude. Take your sandwich.
I love it. I love how he takes the tomato out.
Tomato
Yeah.
off. He always takes
Yeah.
it off.
Man, BLT is a great sandwich.
I could go
I
for a
haven't had one of
BLT
those,
right now.
I haven't had one of those in so long. Are you done with everything? Yeah, I did. I took one bite. You can have
He
the whole
really
thing.
did only take like one bite of the
But I
freaking
didn't pay
sandwich.
yet, so you gotta pay.
Oh, that close up as soon as he realizes it.
Yeah. What? Even like the cameras right here, like this technique there, like you shoot him the close-ups because he's still not in with them, but he's listening to them, so you shoot over the shoulder, but you still
Yeah, like
separate him
like
when
a
he's
parent,
asking.
almost like, all right, I'll
Yeah,
hear you out for a second.
when he's asking the question, like it's close up on him because he's still not like fully on board. But this is this,
This is
this is
I
the best
think the
scene.
best scene in the whole
Oh
film.
yeah, this is the best scene in the entire movie. This scene, if you ever want to be an editor, watch this scene.
This is a scene to study. Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. There's
this
those
scene
like
is
shots as soon
perfect.
as he says that he's not the Zodiac, and then
Oh yeah,
there's just like a close up of every single one of their faces as soon as he says that, and it's just like them looking at
comes in,
him.
shoot them through the cage of POV. Like it's like you're walking into like basically like an arena right now.
His his coworker. Did
John
you see the way
John
he
Carroll
said
Lynch,
looked at
yeah,
him?
John Carroll Lynch is so good in this scene. This is John Krasinski's cousin.
Oh,
You
is it
know,
really?
yeah, that's how John Krasinski got started.
That's crazy.
It's so like, oh, it's so good. He's like,
There's like
you
three of
keep the
them just
camera,
all on one.
you keep like the camera outside, and he's always like, he's nervous. It's when he like, oh, it's when he leans back is when the scenes this really starts. Right here. Oh, perfect. And he just looks at his leg. Oh, it's so good.
It's a lot of really subtle stuff that works so well, but like I don't think
Mhm.
people really notice it when they're watching it the first time because
Yeah,
it just grabs you, man.
very subtle. Shows the watch, more relaxed, leaning back. But he also like also shoots the each of the three of them all separate too,
Yeah, like
because
they
they're
have their
all
own
have
opinions. Like
different
they'll kind
all
of like
different
going
opinion.
back and forth on whether or not they believe him. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the shot I was talking about. Oh my God, it's
yeah,
so good. As soon as he notices the watch too, it just completely changes the whole dynamic of the scene.
yeah. Hmm. He's so like I would give him an Oscar nom just for this scene alone. I'd be like so good. This is my favorite part coming up. When he brings the camera's been outside the entire time, but right here, and he brings it inside, and then he goes right back to inside to him. Eyeline, the
It's the only
edits.
shot that they do with him like that
Yeah,
too.
inside, and he's like basically staring down the barrel to you. And then you pull back, as in like because he was kind of threatening there, as in
He
like
he hides it as soon as he says
yeah.
that.
So you bring the camera back out. It's so more just like that was a direct like a threat from him to them. Just happens to have a Zodiac watch. I mean, honestly, if I was a detective, I'd be like, "Look, I'm gonna arrest him right now because I think I have
I'll
enough
take his
evidence.
ass in right now.
I got
He's
enough
trying to
evidence."
stop me.
He just started talking and said that he had knives in his car with blood. He's wearing a Zodiac watch. He has a
Take
limp.
that to
He
a
said,
judge and
"I'm
tell me he
not the
doesn't get 20
Zodiac.
to life in jail.
I'm not the Zodiac, and if I was, I certainly wouldn't tell you. I think I have enough evidence." His favorite movie is The Most Dangerous Game. Come on, guys, what are we doing? Judge, give me the arrest warrant.
You're gonna listen to this and tell me I'm wrong?
Judge would be like, "Damn, book him."
Oh my gosh. Not Phil.
Phil's like, "What did I do?" But then you bring it back in at the end because it's like he still has control in that scene because they don't they have no idea what the hell just happened. Like, they're like probably like, "What the fuck just happened, guys?"
They got a guy. They like the guy that they got.
Yeah, yeah. John Krasinski's cousin, John Carroll Lynch.
I didn't know that they were related at all. That's crazy. Ugh. They finished that in such a good way too.
Yeah, and then you bring it to like the bars. Looks like bars between them. Could this guy be it? Yes. Yes. Your brother's a psycho. So even if
How
he
did
isn't, even if he isn't, you really should pay attention to your brother because he's kind of crazy.
he was just like think our brother's a Zodiac? Como City say absolutely. Yeah, like your brother's the fucking Zodiac.
Bro, why do you think we're sitting here?
If Don told you my brother's a Zodi, he is. There's this editing trick. I can't remember who it was that I think it was Aaron Sorkin actually that was talking about it with David Fincher and editing The Social Network, but talking about like starting scenes with a conversation that picks up from another scene, so it
Hmm.
always feels like you're keeping up, like like you're behind in
Yeah.
some way, shape, or form. But for some reason, the editing in this movie feels like it all flows so well from one scene to the next because they're talking
Hmm.
about what they learned the last scene to whoever they're informing on the next scene, and then
Yeah.
just whatever we didn't see on screen.
I think that can work, and also sometimes it doesn't because like I'll rewatch like Entourage, and like they'll talk about like the scene will end, and it'll cut to them walking and talking, and they're talking about what just happened. But then I'm like, what were they talking about for the last 30 minutes of them getting to this point of them walking? So like
That's
you
valid.
like it's like, but it's obviously it's like it's a movie or a television show, so it's like you buy it. But like at the same time, it's like, what were they talking about before this? Like it's been like they've all been together now for probably like an hour, and now they're just like bringing it up. Like,
I think the reason it works really well for this movie is because it is something of like an investigation movie, like where
yeah,
we have
yeah,
just as much information as they do.
Yeah.
And so if this
You're
is your first time watching it, it just feels like it flows very well.
you're just following along with them. The case is unraveling while you're watching as well.
Ah, here it
Here it
is.
comes. Here it comes.
I like how the billboard changes too. Something super subtle.
This is
Some
how you do
slight.
transitions. Two great transitions. This and then just the black screen. Black screen with just music and audio. And then just 7 years later. That's how you do a transition. That's one of my favorite like time jumps. Building
Movies
one
don't
of the
do
most
enough good
famous buildings
transitions
in
anymore,
San
man.
Fran, like 1 year later. Look, man, I just bumped. Look at me. I was just in the bathroom snorting coke. That's right here. That's what he says when he looks up the marked man. Right here.
The mocked man.
The marked man. If I was like watching the monitor of him when he delivered that, I would be dying. I'd be like, oh, I'm using
I
that.
can tell
That's
you
so
this right now, dude.
good.
Like they would have to like tie me up to not
I'd be
laugh.
like, oh, I'm using that. That's so good. Marked man. Like if he ad libbed that, I'd be like, here it comes.
Uh he tries to hide the pill bottle.
Yeah.
He ain't slick, bud. No,
No.
thanks for asking. That little pat that he gives him. Shorty's just getting himself some coffee right now, dude.
Man, I get enough evidence, man. Arrest warrant.
What are they fucking waiting for? Lock him up.
Dermont's like, no, we can't yet. Dude doesn't age. He looks the same now when he's in Scream.
Uh, my girlfriend worked with him on a movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my
Is she an actor?
girlfriend's
Is
an
she an actor?
yeah, she's an actress. She well, actually, I should say this. She didn't work with him, but she worked on the same movie as him.
He was just in the movie. Yeah.
Hmm. She worked on this film called The Inhabitant for like one scene, but he's in it. He's in it, which is
Has
cool
it
to
come out
see.
yet?
It's out on Hulu, so if you watch it, it's on
Mm,
Hulu.
nice.
But yeah, I have the Blu-ray for it. You know, gotta support the wife.
Got to add it to the collection because you're in the Atlanta area, right?
Yes, yes. She actually shot that scene before we even moved out here. So,
Mm.
but yeah, we moved out here, and then as soon as we moved out here, it was writer strike, and then almost immediately after the actor strike.
Might be resolved soon. Might be resolved this week.
I'm hoping so, but I mean, they're talking about like still wanting to use AI, and I'm like, they're not gonna go for that at all.
Yeah.
I don't know though. Whenever that writer strike announcement happened, I was like, dude, it's not gonna happen. Then it did, and I was just like, oh, thank God.
The studio they responded today pretty quickly. The studios about they already had amendments to their AI. So and they've been talking for a while. Hopefully the actors get what they deserve.
Absolutely. So that's what we make movies
Shouldn't be using
for.
AI. Shouldn't be using AI.
Why does this man just have a squirrel
Yeah,
as a pet?
if I walked into his trailer, I'd be like, he has squirrels as I'd be like, get the judge on the phone right now. He has squirrels as pets. They're
You tell me
dead
this guy's
in the
not a
freezer.
killer?
He's got like 18 guns back here. Like, but I guess the point they got the search warrant, so that's why they're in here.
He's got little nudie mags.
Yeah. He's like, hey, I have this copy.
Have
This
you
is
ever
a good
seen
issue.
This Is the End?
Oh yeah.
Whenever he's like, who jerked off into the nudie bag?
David. I feel weird like watching James Franco movies now.
It's strange, I'll admit. That's one of those things where it's like I
He did
enjoyed him
always
for
give me some
such
weird
a long
vibes, I will
movie,
say.
but he did always have kind of a weird vibe. This guy, okay, so you lock one squirrel up and then you just leave one out like nothing.
Yeah. He's got gloves.
Oh no.
Same one. Boots.
He's got to get no two guns.
A revolver. Yeah, interesting. There's an M1 rifle over here. It's basically just being like, yeah, he is part of the army.
How funny would it be if he just pulled up and they walked out with a gun in their hand, like,
Yeah.
look what we found.
It's like the I always find it funny when you watch like the JFK assassination, like
You
when
just
they're
watched the
showing them
JFK assassination
like
for fun.
like the well, I was watching. There's a new documentary out about it. It's like one, but it's when they parade around like it's so interesting watching like old how they would treat suspects back then. Like they would just walk them around in front of the press like it was nothing, like just transferring him from holding cell to like interrogation room. And then they just walked around with the murder weapon, like the rifle. The cops were just holding it in the air, like just kept walking around with it.
That's insane.
I was like, what is like you look at it, you're like, God, this is so wild. Like this would never happen now. Like just walking around like and the reporters were like right there. Like you could touch the cop like holding the like
It was like a show for them.
yeah, basically like that's what it was. It's just wild. It's called One Day in America, JFK assassination.
Is it streaming on something?
I think it's on Hulu and Disney Plus.
Okay. I think we have Hulu. I don't know. I've been like I almost never use streaming just because I'm a big physical media person as well, but also
Mhm.
just I forget that I have services, so I just cancel them after a while.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, we don't need all these services.
There's just too much of it.
I'll keep Criterion.
That's all I need. That's all I need. That's crazy that we both got the others though,
Hmm.
without even consulting.
Yeah, I saw it there. I was like, I'll get it. 4K. I gotta hold off on buying a lot of them. I own too many of them, and I don't need to keep buying that many at once. Like they'll always be there.
I don't know, man. I really like collecting them. I keep telling myself I don't need to
I
get
wish I
more,
could
but
own
I'll
all
I'll
of
just keep
them.
getting them. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
there's way
if they
too
have
many.
I'm definitely gonna get Mean Streets and Last Picture Show though. They come
Mean
out this
Streets
month.
I already pre-ordered. I haven't ordered Last Picture Show yet, but I'm definitely thinking about it. Ah, the Dirty Harry
Yeah,
Andes. That's funny.
I was reading up like Clint Eastwood didn't want them to show Dirty Harry in this. He was like I think they were gonna show it different. They were gonna show like the ending scene there, I think. Um, but he was like, we can't. I don't want them to like glamorize the serial killer like in this movie as well. Like, okay, Clint. He's like, there's too much like horror around. I was like, Clint, you're in Dirty Harry. What are you talking about? Because Dirty
I've been
Harry's like
saying that. How old is
based
Clint
off of
Eastwood
Zodiac.
now?
It's gotta be 90 something, no?
Any day now, that man is gonna croak.
PT, man, he is the greatest. If you ever work on a set, that dude, you'll be there at 9, you'll be done at 5:30 if it's that day, and you can go home and eat dinner. Like, he's one take, "Yeah, I'm good. Let's go. We're good, man." Every actor is like, it's like it's just a normal work day. Like, it's 9 to 5. Like,
It's
he's
the
going home.
anti Fincher right there.
Yeah, he's going home.
This guy's in Fargo too.
Oh, he's Saving Private Ryan.
Well, I only mentioned Fargo because of John Carroll Lynch is also in Fargo.
Mhm. New season coming out.
I haven't seen anything past the third season, man. And that's
Dare
I
you.
know I need to
I
watch
wo
season.
I work at that network. How dare you?
I'll tell you this. Tell whoever you need to at your work, man. Get season 3, get season 4, put them on Blu-ray immediately because that
And
was the only reason I was watching them.
1 and 2 are. I think 3 is.
I have 1 and 2, but 3 is not. I know for a fact 3 is not because I have
Mm.
the DVD for it.
Oh, yeah, it's only on DVD.
I have considered just buying the digital HD version of it, but just haven't pulled the trigger on that.
First season's so good.
The first season's great.
That's my favorite, like, cinematic universe is the Fargo universe.
The
That's I'd
FCU.
rather yeah.
At the end of season 3, there's like a post-credit scene of like what's his name? Joel or Ethan
It's
Cohen's
yeah,
wife. Frances
yeah.
McDormand shows up.
Frances McDormand. End of season 4, young Steve Buscemi. Like,
I just remembered that the Marvels comes out this weekend and I saw it like 2 days ago and I'm just I something feels like it like the internet's gonna be like losing their mind over the next few days.
I did see a spoiler for it. And I think I'm at a point with Marvel, like, I don't really I'm like,
I've
"Eh,
just
let me see."
kind of
If I
given
see a
up,
spoiler
man.
like, "Yeah, whatever."
If I'm here's
But
the
I
thing,
did
is
I did
like
like the spoiler. I did like the spoiler I saw. I was like, That's good. Bring
good
that person
step, yeah. I will say that like with other movies, oh, I completely forgot that tonight I had a screening for Saltburn
in."
and I forgot about it completely because I had planned to do this all week, which I'm glad I'm doing this. But at the same time, like that shows you how much I like plan to go to these screenings sometimes because like the killer, as soon as I found out about it, I was there. Like
Mhm.
you could have asked me to do something for the rest of the week, and I'd be like, nah, I got something to do Tuesday night.
AMC just started like that a secret screening.
Mm-hmm.
I think they did started it this week because I forgot other theater chains do it.
I didn't go to it, but from
I
I
think it
think it
was
was
I think it was
Next
Next
Goal
Goal Wins.
Wins. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, it's either gonna be Next Goal Wins or the Marvels. Like,
I have not heard great things about Next Goal Wins, and not in just like it's not the best movie ever, but a lot of people are saying that there's like a lot of transphobic stuff in it.
mm,
So I'm not sure how
that's
that's
not
gonna
good.
do.
That's
But
not good.
that was also a while ago that I heard about that. So it could be that they either cut that stuff out or changed it slightly. But if it's
Mhm.
Taika Waititi though, I'm like surprised. That man is 70 years old. Look at him.
He's like, you wanna drink some alcohol and bum some coke, play some pong.
He looks like, in the Cat in the Hat, whenever he's got like that big old belly.
Mhm.
That's him right there.
Yeah. He gives the drink he gives him just vodka in the like a water glass. Like, oof. Great lighting there.
Someone should write a book.
Someone should write a fucking book. Again, separate them. Don't shoot them together. Two different mindsets.
All the close-ups of
One's
Gyllenhaal
more,
kind
yeah,
of
one's more
accentuates
close
that.
up. One's more close up. He's more like engaged. Obviously, you shoot him more wide. Like this dude's coked out of his mind on alcohol. But you don't shoot them together. Two different people.
Few different ideas.
Yep. This is filmmaking. I'm going to be a director now.
Cinema at its
Yeah.
best.
The mise en scène.
If I wanted, like, if I could really just give you like an Italian or like some really thick accent here, I act like I worked with Fincher. So what we did here was we shot them separately, and we wanted to make it so Jake Gyllenhaal was very serious. We wanted to connect with him and feel like we were connecting a little bit more with Robert Downey Jr. as the scene went on. So we shot him in a wide first, and then we moved on to the close up, and we now back to the wide, so you can see here he is very detached from Jake Gyllenhaal.
And it's not actually raining here. It is fake. Except for that. But now he's like now we switch back. He's the main character again.
It's not the last time we see Downey Jr., is it either? It's like further down the line you see him again whenever he's on the news.
He's like the bar, yeah.
Yeah,
He's like
he's
has
like he's like he's
oxygen
at the
tank.
freaking library, Washington and Cherry. Oh, and the way that it shows it here too, like that transition. How do you nail that, dude? How do you nail that?
Perfect blocking. This is also the first time they interact. Oh, actually, no. The theater they did.
The movie theater, yeah, it was magical. Don't you remember?
Yeah. Yeah, it's magical. Must have been magical. Must have been magical.
Oh, it's so good.
I mean, honestly, if I was at this point, I'd be like, "Do you really want to help me? I can't. You can't help me, but also go talk to this guy. He might be able to help you."
Yeah, then he goes to him and he's like, Dave Tosky sent you?
Yeah, because everyone's like, "I don't. If you want to do it, then go for it, man." Like,
Like, we're screwed over on this one. We're
we don't
done
care.
for.
Yeah.
Who was it? Mullinax that tells him he thinks he's gonna solve the Zodiac, and the other dude's like, huh, good
Yeah.
for
Good for him.
him.
Yeah. Good for him. Also, filming technique. Whenever you're inside, always blow out the windows with light because then you can shoot it any time of the day without having to worry about sunset, anything. Just shoot a huge spotlight in there so you can control the light. Because this could be at 8 o'clock at night,
Even
but as long
watching
as you
like
shoot that,
any other movies of his, they all look exactly the same for like the diner
yeah.
scenes.
Be like, damn, you figured all this out yourself?
Who are you again?
Yeah. What's your name? Yeah.
What movie did Gyllenhaal do after this? Was it this is 2007? Trying to think.
Like Rendition, I think maybe. I don't know if you ever saw that movie.
I think I did. I just can't
With
remember which movie it
With him,
is.
Meryl Streep. It's pretty
Oh yeah,
kind of
yeah, it was
underrated.
rendition.
Kind of underrated. And Meryl Streep, nothing like amazing, but decently solid like movie.
Oh, Peter Sarsgaard and Alan Arkin are in that. Reese
Mm-hmm.
Witherspoon. Oh my gosh, I forgot Reese Witherspoon was in that.
It's a good cast.
Brothers, Prince of Persia. You remember how amazing Prince of Persia was? Who is it that makes that joke in I think it was This Is the End where like James Franco says that he slept with like Lindsay Lohan and he's like, she thought I was Jake Gyllenhaal. He's like, I just told her to call me Prince of
forgot
Persia.
I forgot Prince of Persia even existed as a movie.
They had so many plans to make that into like a franchise and it just was
No.
so bad. Once in high school. That's such a good line.
Such a great actor. Elias.
He's so good. Every scene he's in, he like kind of kills it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the scene's coming up where he's like, "Who's that? Oh, I think he's gonna sell a Zodiac. Well, good for him." Because I guess he's basically just a private investigator at this point.
Yeah. How much time do you think him and Fincher spent together in that room just like getting random shots?
Yeah. Well, these are all inserts. So you can shoot these yourself. Like you don't need him there. Like those close-ups on the.
Well, yeah, but everything with him like holding up the little bags of bullets and like
Oh
the
yeah. There's probably so much on just like in dailies that are still like on some server that are just him looking at stuff. Then like that's probably just people throwing stuff down. Like you don't need him for there for that. You just need that could be second unit just shooting stuff. Like all right, just
oh,
throw
there it
some
is.
like
There it is.
yeah.
He runs to like write down all the information he learned
Yeah.
immediately.
I think I wouldn't remember anything I just saw. Like,
I am terrible at remembering. Like, here's the thing: is I will remember like just random movie facts, like what we've been talking about for the last 2 hours. But as soon as I hear anything useful, I will forget it like immediately.
yeah. Jonah had the flu right here. He didn't want to film. So you're
I
looking at
don't
them there.
know. I don't know how
102
many
degree fever.
times. I don't know how many times I've heard stories of like actors having like fevers or like they're like, oh, they were performing this while they were
Yeah.
dying on their deathbed, and I'm just like, I can't even tell.
Well, the last podcast I did with Jaws, like Robert Shaw was there was a scene the scene when they first get on the boat.
Oh,
Um
the what is it that he's like drunk or something?
no, it's like so he's like sitting down when like essentially they doing the fishing line. So they essentially he had the flu, so he couldn't really walk around at all because he was just exhausted. So they just figured out like, what if we just sat him down and he did those scenes? And it's like this, like essentially you'd be like, action, like all of your energy is going towards this acting right now, and cut, and you're just like, ugh, just like slumped over. So it's like this, like Jake, we're not gonna have you move around because you have the flu, but we'll have you sit down, so it's easier for you to just be like, yeah, he had like 102 or 103-degree fever right here.
I think it was Misery that I was thinking about with James Caan, where he was apparently drunk and just ruined like a whole day's worth of shooting and then apologized to the director. Which, like, out of all the Stephen King adaptations, funny enough, I feel like Misery is just
Yeah.
one of the worst adapted
They
ones.
we get more actors drunk on set and see what happens.
Let's just
Like
see
the
what
like the
happens. Let's
lighthouse.
just see what
Pretty
happens.
sure
Let's just
the
roll the camera
lighthouse.
and let's see what happens.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that was like half of the lighthouse was them just getting wasted and him just rolling the camera. Like what's going on?
We need more of that. We need more of that. Brian's wearing that
Yeah.
little red jacket so he doesn't get more of a cold.
Yeah. There you go. Filming technique. Someone has the flu. Just sit down. You're fine.
You got it. You got the scene right there. You see you sniffling away.
I mean, honestly, if I was an actor, I'd be like, "Fuck this," but then you're also getting paid like Jake Gyllenhaal. Jake Gyllenhaal's getting paid pretty well, so they'll probably tell him to get his ass out there, especially Fincher.
That chair behind her, it's an ugly chair. Look at it. It's so. What is that
Oh,
doing
yeah.
there?
Who's the fucking rich people, man.
Just buy anything that costs money.
Yeah. It was his birthday.
Who celebrates their birthday with a murder? Come on.
Yeah. Serial killers.
Can you imagine being a serial killer? It's your birthday and someone's like, "Hey man, I know you don't want to go out tonight. Let's get a couple of beers. Let's kill some folks. Nothing too major."
You know who loves this movie?
Who's that?
Bong Joon-ho. So this movie's a masterpiece. And I'm like,
I would.
yes.
I I saw
Yes.
like
He
his list of
knows.
like top 10 movies and it was on there once. And I was like, I get
Yeah.
it.
Like
I
he
get it,
knows.
bro.
This movie is perfect. Because most people would say like they would prefer Memories of Murder over this, which came out before this.
Yeah. I actually watched that again recently and it still holds up so well, dude. That's another movie that's very similar to this, though. Now I think about it, like you never find out who the murderer is, like
Hmm.
concretely.
They're all like, bro.
What, like his desk?
Yeah, they're all like, bro. We've been doing this for like 10 years. Like, we gave up. We're
Her
not
her
fighting
her little outfit's cute here.
overalls. Just bring back overalls.
Bro, she wanted attention from him so badly. And he really just said, "How's your
This
day?"
one's
And then walks
Zodiac.
away. Oh, he gets this call here. Herb Kane.
Okay. Where would you say this falls on your Fincher ranking? Is this your favorite?
Ah, no, it's not my favorite. Social Network's definitely the favorite for me.
Mm.
That's tough, man. I feel like this is the one that I rewatched the most. I'm trying to think of like what else I have as far as like Fincher. You know what? I'm gonna go with number two. This is number two for me.
Hmm.
I think I rewatched this one the most out of all the Fincher movies, but Social Network's definitely the favorite. Uh, 7 might be a close three.
This is my number one, easily. His best film for me.
Works very well. It's very easy to watch. It's like I said this before about his movies, but they're very cozy.
Mm-hmm.
Something about his filmmaking. Like I don't know how many times I've just watched this because I was bored or watched this because I wanted something familiar, but that was also just very good and very comforting, strangely. Like it's become a comfort film. Same thing with like Donnie Darko,
Mm-hmm.
which also has Jake Gyllenhaal in it, surprisingly.
Oh, that's why Fincher wanted Gyllenhaal in this movie because of Donnie Darko.
Yeah, that movie.
He recently rewatched it, I guess, before when they were doing the casting for this, and that's when he thought of Gyllenhaal.
He's so funny in Donnie Darko, dude. It's so like it's such a good movie, but also like so funny, and I never realized it till I saw it with an audience. Um, I watched it earlier in June. They were showing at this art house theater pretty close to me, and it was like a sold out theater. I watched on 35 millimeter, and I knew that it was like a funny movie during some scenes, but like I had heard like the audience like dying laughing during some scenes that I couldn't even hear the audio.
Mm-hmm. Close up on the breathing.
That pan to the right as soon as you
Always
hear the
like
breathing too.
the rack. Always like rack focused her. What did you do? What did you do?
She knows. She knows.
So I personally think Rick Marshall wrote the letters,
You think Arthur Lee Allen did the killings?
and then two other people did the killings, and Arthur Lee Allen was one of them. Like Arthur Lee Allen, I think knew something about what was going on. So like the Rick Marshall guy, and I guess when he goes to the house, the guy's like, "I did the posters myself," so they have the same handwriting. So it's like it's got to be like multiple people in on this, which you could consider like maybe it was a cult that was doing this.
Like a few members of it.
Yeah,
That makes a little bit more sense, I guess. Thinking about it now.
as opposed to just like one person, because clearly from the case that they lay out here, even in this movie, like they're just looking at case files. It's essentially what this whole movie is.
Them trying to
There's
put
no
people
like
together.
definitive. Yeah, there's multiple suspects. One the handwriting matches the one suspect, doesn't match the other one. It's like you could put it into could be two people, two,
This
three
is
people
just
doing
it's just the original Scream movie if you think about it.
it. Yeah, basically. Yeah. I love this acting choice here of him. Like just he's choosing like the balance. He's just so invested in this. Like this anxiety is just like he needs to get these things done.
At this point, it's almost like the first like in the earlier in the film they call him like a Boy Scout, but it's like this is his version of like trying to like be sneaky and like do things that he's not
Hmm.
supposed to. It's like no one's gonna like crucify you for trying to get more information on your book, man.
Hmm. It's crazy that Fincher came in under budget with this movie too.
Yeah. There's so
For
much to
how like
this. Like
for how much
even
they shot probably and like because I think they only shot a little bit in San Fran and everything else is in LA. Um, but yeah, coming in under budget too for like The shoot's probably over 100 days. I think it was like 115 days or something.
Very resourceful.
That's music to a studio's ears coming in under
Yeah.
budget. I mean, I think this movie made like 80 mil like worldwide or something. Not too much, but it's gotten obviously releasing movies in the 2000s and stuff. A lot of your sales also going to come from the home release.
Yeah. That was a huge part of like box office at that point too, as well. Like, I mean, I
Hmm.
guess not
With
box office,
DVD
but like
sales.
income for the movie sales,
Yeah.
but it's pretty much done for now.
Hmm.
It's insane to me that like I'll have people who ask me like all the time, and I've heard it before. People say that it's like a waste of money to like keep buying movies, and like I always tell them, it's like, dude, like without like a home release, without like a physical release, like so many movies do not make the money that they used to. We don't get the budgets that we used to because of it.
Hmm. Movies that are like strictly streaming, I like forget exist because I don't like
Yeah,
them.
like I don't know how many times I've seen like a movie on Netflix or like Hulu, something where it just goes straight to streaming. And there's like a handful of movies that I remember, and then every other movie that I see exists on there is just like do not even recognize that that exists. Like we were talking about a movie pretty recently. We said that looked like a fake movie as well, and I can't remember what it was,
Hmm.
but there's that movie in theaters right now, Freelance, that looks like one of those.
Yeah.
Didn't you go see it?
Yes, I did.
Was it
And
just the most incredible thing you've ever seen?
I was like halfway through, and I was like, I don't like this is basically felt like an I don't mean I don't like to rip on movies, but like it felt like a Netflix dump on like a Wednesday or Thursday. It's not like it wasn't like it wasn't a movie. It's like the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. It's like it's fun, it's watchable. It's fine. Someone probably finds it entertaining, but it sucks that like it sucks that I think that Fincher needs to get out of Netflix because now like I know people aren't too high on Mank, but it'd be suck if that never like if say Criterion doesn't pick that up, but I feel like they
No, I know.
eventually will. But just to have a physical release of that, or because now they have the killer there,
That was
uh,
one thing that like as soon as I saw the
I could
killer,
see them picking up the killer for sure, and I think they will pick up Mank
I
eventually.
forget that Mank exists, dude. And
Yeah,
that's what I
because
mean. Like
again, it's on Netflix.
it's on Netflix, and so I forget that it exists. I can't have a physical copy. I can't
Yeah,
pop it in when I want. I can't listen to the director's commentary.
so I also need them to release the Ballad of Buster Scruggs too, the Coens from Netflix.
They need to do like way too many releases right now. I've seen that they're doing like a few physical releases on some movies recently for Netflix specifically, like The Babysitter and what
Yeah, I
was it,
did
The
see that. So maybe
Ritual.
that's why I'm hoping that maybe they will eventually like maybe put out those movies. Maybe they're trying to test the sale for maybe release these physically. What kind of sale can we get?
I mean, Prey got a physical release. So did Loki, WandaVision.
Hmm. Maybe they're going back to the old days. People buying. Please stop bothering me.
Oh shit, bro. He just dumped him, bro. Said, don't come by my house. Don't call me.
It's because he's been accused of writing that Zodiac letter.
Yeah. He's
Got the
got his
kids
little
helping.
like kids now. Even the little girl, look at her. She's just sitting there drawing
Yeah.
stuff.
I guess his oldest is like from a different marriage.
Mm-hmm. Damn, bro, put him on the spot like that.
Yeah, he's like, damn, bro.
Maybe you're the killer.
Yeah.
Some colleagues, they're kids, dude. Tell them
Oh,
like it is.
yeah, some colleagues. This is his last scene.
It's a little oxygen tank.
Smoking a cig, about half a bottle of whiskey in a jar.
I don't know how many times I've seen that too. Like in actual, like in real life, people like smoking a cig with an oxygen tank.
Yeah. Addiction. Addicted to tobacco. The fucking library.
Dramatic bombshell. Edward G. Robinson. Big film guy. Big film guy.
Yeah, he's a film nerd. Illegal. Foreshadowing.
Can you imagine not like comprehending media literacy and being like, well, he never does find out.
I mean, I guess technically there, you never really know because it's an open case, though.
They may as well tell you it's him though at the end of the movie. I mean, even
Yeah,
if it is an open case, the first time I saw it, I was like, dang, it was him the whole
yeah.
time.
Because I guess like Arthur Lee Allen's like actual family said that because like he has the heart attack like before they were gonna. But it was like I
Yeah.
guess the stress they made it. They were like everyone like knew that he was like the prime suspect, so like that just weighed on him for his entire life. And then when they are going to question him again, I think that's when it like they say that that's when his heart just gave out.
The way they reveal his character like on screen for the first time, like right there with all the shadows on his face, like without telling us directly, like, oh my gosh, it could be
Yeah.
him.
Add more drama, eerie to it. Make it pouring rain at nighttime.
There's a shot like when he's trying to get out of the apartment or his little house, I guess. When he's trying to get the door open, there's that mirror right there that
Mm-hmm.
he shows up right behind, and it scares the crap out of me every time I
Oh
see it.
yeah,
It's so good.
I love in that right after that the edit or that the close up of him opening the door, but they make the turning of the locks so loud.
Yeah.
It's just like great sound design.
Mr. Graysmith. I do the posters myself.
Oh, genius. Great acting.
And then he tells him to go down to the basement to look at the rest of them. It's like, why would you tell us that
Yeah.
immediately after that? Shut up right now. Makes me think of that Hitchcock quote where he says, like, make the bomb go off and it's boring, but show us the bomb and then make it go
Mhm.
off.
He even has posters up too, like you, Robert.
Why does he say it like that? No.
Yeah. No. Like the more serious questions, you shoot the claw, shoot them by themselves on the frame. So here you go. Oof.
That little eye twitch at the end. Did you see that?
Yeah. I'd be like, "Would you say actually?" I'd whisper to myself,
Like,
"Oh,
pardon?
okay." Yeah. Oh,
I gotta go to
okay.
my car real fast. I
Actually,
forgot my
I
phone.
think I left my phone in the car.
I left my cell out there. I'll be right back.
Oh, that shot right there. Oh,
There's not many basements in California.
and you switch to the close up to the wide. Oh, I do.
Oh shit. He's gonna die.
If like even if this was a Zodiac, it's too easy.
You're asking to get killed, bro.
Yeah, like I feel like if you're like a serial killer though, like in that mindset, like
The phone
obviously this
right
this
by
guy's
the
not it, but it's like even in this scene, it's like there's someone upstairs, like so someone else is in there. Is it Arthur Lee Allen? Is someone else in there? Is it Rick Marshall? Like,
an
but if
interesting
you're a
thought though about this is that like let's say that this guy was one of the killers, right? Let's say
Mhm.
that Lee Allen was one of the killers. He loves the publicity of everything he's been doing so
Yeah.
far that he cannot kill him. He knows that this guy is going to get him a book written about him.
Oh yeah. And I feel like if like again, if you were a serial killer, like this is too easy. It's not a game to me. Like you showed up here. I didn't go and get you. It's the most dangerous game.
Yeah.
I want to hunt you, let you trying to find me. So you would take an innocent victim as opposed to someone trying to find you. Oh, if I was looking at the monitor, I saw him like delivering those lines in the dark. I'd be like, oh, I got it, perfect. Oh, that delivery. Would you like to go upstairs and check? Like, no, I'm getting the hell out of here.
This light.
Yeah, and but before he turns it off, he looks at him again. It's so good.
He walks around like a little creep too.
Yeah. So this is like you
Right
implying
here.
like, oh yeah, like this is when you're to be like, okay, there could be like multiple people doing this. Like this guy probably knows something. Oh, that so loud, but so good. See, it's like he smiles, like it's like a smirk, it's like a game there.
Oh, it's too good, man. His little red car. Little tiny red car.
How do you go home after that? I'd be like, I need to like go someone to someone's house.
I'd shit myself immediately.
Going home to an empty house in the dark.
Dude, if I had to be alone after that, I would never sleep again. And he left the door open. You're asking to get killed, bro.
Just follow you home. Again, too easy though. It's too easy. Zodiac knows who he is. Yeah, you're right. The Zodiac probably wouldn't kill anyone that like knows someone that's investigating him. It's too obvious. Tired. Look at the little
You have
fire.
not slept at all, dude.
Which is good. Like now looks like Paul Avery did halfway through the movie. Like that same
Yeah.
face, like the makeup on his face, hasn't slept, bags under the eyes.
It's like disheveled all the time.
Yeah, hasn't showered in like 2 days.
You got little beady eyes.
Mm-hmm.
It was Rick, wasn't it? It was Rick.
Yeah. But again, like see how he's more close up on Gyllenhaal here. Like it's because he's being like more aggressive. Like no, it's this, and she's a little more back, like a medium close up, being like no, like she's more in control, more lax, being like no, I know, I'm very confident it's not him, and it was Lee.
He frames them on two very different sides at the end of that shot there too, like showing like
Mm-hmm.
opposing sides, but like he's realized now like oh, I was wrong this whole time. And then
Mm-hmm.
it kind of reassures him of what he said earlier that there was two killers. This guy's like this
Like
man is
you're back
crazy,
again.
dude.
He's like you're back again.
Like a little kid, dude.
He's like yeah, I've seen this file before. Like,
This guy sucks.
I mean, at that point, you're probably what, like 12 years into this. I'd be like, nah, I'm over this case. Like, we're
I don't
not
blame
solving
him.
it.
I don't blame him at this point. But like
Yeah,
I can see
like,
where he's coming from, Jake Gyllenhaal
yeah.
anyway.
Now it's just pure obsession. Your
Chloe
ex-wife.
Sevigny.
I'm back again. Damn.
Damn, bro.
Date that didn't end. You don't mean that a little.
She took his kid too. Like, that's not yours, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I probably would too. But again, separate them in the frame. Two different, they're no longer together.
Cinema.
This is cinema. I read this in Filmmaking 101.
Getting real Seven vibes from this
A
guy who's only seen
a lot of
Seven.
rain to end the movie. A lot of rain to end it. I want to kill
I'm gonna kill him. I love that line.
Oh, I love when she was like, "He's actually here." Like she obviously knows who he is still. Like he's actually here.
I'll meet you out front. No, you won't.
Yeah.
I love that shot where it looks like he's like the camera's supposed to be like the people.
The keyhole, the other people.
Why does he stick it on there?
And no evidence, man.
I love that line. The same
Hmm.
shirt with that drinks like full Avery now.
Back to the diner where they met. Where they first interacted, kind of.
I like me a good diner scene. All circumstantial. All
Mhm.
circumstantial, buddy. That man has not slept in days, dude. What time do you
And
think it is right now in that movie? Like 3, 4 in the morning?
probably 4, maybe almost 5 in the morning, because he's getting ready to go to work.
He hasn't slept, so it's like he's just
Yeah,
been up all night doing
the
this.
Taskia.
He's at a night, dude. He went to the police station to get that file, found it, talked to Mullinex, went back home, looked for some other file, came back to his place, and then here, and now he's giving him his whole spiel.
Hmm.
Oh shit, because he was in prison.
Like shit.
I thought you were supposed to be a cop, Toski. How did you not notice this?
I know.
You're not supposed to believe in coincidence.
But sometimes it's like if someone breaks it down for you like that, you're like, wait a minute.
You notice it, yeah.
You didn't really like put everything together.
He probably hasn't even thought about the case in years at that point as well.
Yeah. So if you do the whole timeline together, you'd be like, wait a minute.
This crazy man might be onto something.
The best part of the movie right here.
That's a trailer line right there.
Mm-hmm. This is all you need. Like the first murder.
I've walked it.
Like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
It's a good line. I really like the
Yeah. Basically, him being like, look, you're very close, but you can't prove this. It's all, again, it's obviously a theory, but you're basically kind of nailed it. Lee was at the party. He lived 50 feet from her work. Come on. Again, yeah, finish the book. It's going to be an opinion book, but finish it.
it's a good part of the score as well. That's what I've
Mm-hmm.
always noticed for that scene is when he walks in, it
The
kind of have that
use,
somber sound to it.
use the trumpet for him. It's Torsky there
Yeah.
with the piano.
That like
Like,
70s
just the more
cop
piano.
soundtrack.
Yeah. The acting in this part is so good.
Not a
By
single word is said between
by
them.
John
Actually,
Carroll.
he asks him if he needs help or anything, I think.
Yeah, and he just goes no, and they just stare at each other. And John Carroll Lynch's face, his transition to his face when he like realizes like why he's staring at him. So he's like, oh yeah, it's fucking
Oh, you know it's me.
yeah. It's like because it's like 7.5 years later or whatever. Or I guess a couple years later after that. Like right, like when it cuts back, just no, and then Joan Hall does like the kind of the like his eyes like pierce a little bit, and then just oh,
His face just drops too.
right here, like when he leans forward, being like,
He knows that he knows.
yeah. Again, I just need to look at him in the eye. If that actually like did happen, and that guy like looked at me like that, being like, "Yeah, I know who you are," that would confirm it in my mind. I'd be like,
Oh
"Yeah,
yeah, 100%.
you're him. You're him. I know you're him, but you're not gonna kill me."
Hey, I can see that book on my shelf.
Mine doesn't look like that.
Do you have like the copy that's
I
like
have
with the
like the
movie?
no, I have like the. I guess there's an updated version where he like. I guess Robert
Oh, I,
Graysmith
I know what
did
you're
like
talking about, actually.
Robert Graysmith, I guess, did like a different intro or something, and he added some more stuff to it. I have like that copy, which is I guess is the final copy of it.
There he is. What's his name in It's Always Sunny?
The McPoyles. They drink.
McPoyle twins, yes, always
They
drinking
drink.
milk.
They drink milk. Yeah. But
Mr.
yeah,
Majo.
this is supposed to be the Minkus or Mouth from One Tree Hill. Most people probably know him for his One Tree Hill guy, but this is him older.
He's in
So,
Westworld too, which I don't know if you've seen
mhm.
Westworld, dude, but Westworld is good.
First season was great.
Yeah, I've only seen the first season. I own all of them, but I've only seen the first one.
Hmm. Three of those headshots were the people that played the Zodiac in quotations. The different actors that had played them.
You can tell who played who at what scene too.
Yeah.
Like now that you like look at them, the guy on the second
Hmm.
hand to like second to the right, I want to say he was probably the taxi driver.
Hmm. It's John Krasinski's cousin. I know it is.
This guy's gonna solve the Zodiac.
Start the movie and end the movie with Donovan's hurdy gurdy man.
Hurdy Gurdy Man is so good. I don't even like unironically listen to that. That is a good song. Oh shit.
And then we have the text on screen. I'm not
You
going to
know,
read it.
a movie is good if it ends like that.
Yeah.
If you have to read something, that's a good movie.
And I'm sure people were like, they didn't solve it.
I have a friend who watches movies like that, where like if it ends on a kind of an ambiguous note, he'll be like, "That
Yeah.
wasn't good." I'll be like, "Shut
Well, it's like,
up."
I mean, you could look at this and be like, I mean, the Zodiac is still an open case. So this movie was not going to have an ending, essentially. The ending is, it might be this guy. We don't know. Obviously, that's why some people think that, I guess, the book of Robert Graysmith's book's kind of like, some people are like, nah, he really kind of zoned in on one person and really like look at anybody else.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, like he does kind of state Lee as like the biggest like suspect, but there's a lot of other opinions that he throws in there of like other people who's he suspected as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, it's a good movie.
Well, my
Zodiac
friend,
1 and 2. I
this
noticed
was
that
fun.
yeah, it was fun. Well, I'll have to be all nice and prepped for Girl with the Dragon Tattoo when we do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to figure out the schedule coming forward, but yeah, definitely hope to get you on again.
Yeah, for sure. We logging on Letterboxd.
Yeah. We rewatched Zodiac for the 100th time. This podcast is hosted and edited by Pat Brennan. That's me, with intro and closing music by Patrick Baxter.